You made
Hey
it in that
everyone.
night, that is. We sorry about the last week. We were supposed to do the first two episodes last Friday, but things happen. But everything's okay now, and we're back. And instead of doing the first two episodes, we're reviewing the whole shebang, all 8 episodes of the first season, right?
Yeah, which is yes, all 8 episodes, but I think is actually better for us to review all those episodes. To be honest,
Mhm.
versus the first 2 episodes, because after looking at the first 2 episodes, there's a lot still left to unpack, and I'm glad we're getting to do the whole thing. So yes, welcome everyone. Very excited for you guys to join us. It is going to be fun. I think, depending on if you've seen this. Unfortunately, I think Gary Sandberg was in this chat before we went live, like a long time ago, and he had wrote something that's not here now because we're now live. But he said, "Great that you're doing this because I'm a little confused by the show." And so,
It's a good way to describe the show. I'm a little confused by the show, so
yes,
we'll
so
we'll see what happens. This is a show that honestly I was kind of surprised me. I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh, they're doing this. This is a
yeah.
thing, and
Well,
it's
it's
based on Mark Miller's and Frank Quitely's Jupiter Circle and Jupiter's what the hell's it? Jupiter's Legacy. So
yeah.
but yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We are talking about spoilers, so that's another thing to keep in mind. And
Yes, we'll talk about a lot of spoilers.
really, we're used to Amanda breaking down an hour and a half show
We're not doing
all the
that.
time, but there really isn't a lot to this show. That's all I'm gonna say, and we'll get to it, and then we'll get to our thoughts, and then what everybody else thinks. If you've seen the show, if you read the comic, and let's go ahead and get started though. So
Yeah.
again, spoilers,
So,
everybody.
so Jupiter's Legacy. So just a little background on the creation of it. So back in 2017, Netflix actually acquired the majority of the properties that have been published under the Miller World banner. So that's Mark Miller's corporate or company that he had created. So a lot of properties. This is the first that we'll see of the Miller World properties being brought to life on the big screen or on Netflix. I guess not the big screen. Other ones include Super Crooks. American Jesus is one that's being adapted into a TV series as well. They were talking about the Magic Order. They had stopped development on it, and so they weren't going to move forward. But now it looks like they are. There's an Untitled Spice series. They're making Reborn into a movie. Sharky the Bounty Hunter will also be a movie. So a number of Mark Miller. So those of you who are Mark Miller fans, if you're, want to see more of his properties on Netflix, guess what? You're going to get that because Netflix paid a bunch of money to Mark Miller and his wife, who both run the company. And now you're going to see more than just Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix. So yes. So let's talk about Jupiter Legacy. So Jupiter Legacy, interesting story about basically the legacy of a superhero team. It is comprised of Utopian and his wife, Lady Liberty, played by Josh Duhamel, and Leslie Bibb, who, funny enough, right before I watched this, I just rewatched Iron Man because of its 10th anniversary, or no, its anniversary date, and I was like, oh, Leslie Bibb, I'm getting to see a lot of her for some reason.
Who was she in Iron Man?
She's the journalist Christine Everhart that's always like, who was asking him like questions all the time. They slept together at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so yes. So they have a group of superheroes. It's them. It's their Utopians, Sheldon's brother, Walter Sampson. And then, of course, they have Fitz, which is, he's a paraplegic now, but he used to be able to like produce like these flares, and he was called the Flare. And they also had some people that we don't really get to see, but mentioned throughout the story, like what's his name? Not I can't think of his name. Blue Bolt, which we don't know. We only see him in flashbacks. We don't know where he is at in current time. And then, of course, Sky Fox, which we again know he's gone bad. We don't know where he is at the current time. We just see him in flashbacks, but we know he has a son. And that's what the big part of this whole story is about. It's not only about this group of superheroes who are aging with very interesting makeup choices, but also their offspring. So mainly Utopian and Lady Liberty's offsprings, which is Chloe, who basically does not want to be a superhero, even if she has the powers, and just snorts her way through life, using her parents' fame to get modeling gigs and whatnot, and just, wastes away doing coke and drugs and things like that. And then we have Brandon, who did grow up and become a superhero and part of the team, but he's under his father's shadow, and it's that whole living up to your father's expectations, which, let's face it, we've seen that in a number of superhero TV shows, animated and live action, in the past, couple of years. So it's one of those, tale as old as time, I guess, at this point. But the whole thing centers around, there is a supervillain called Black Star that was originally imprisoned. Then he's taken, they think he's escaped prison, and he has vengeance on Utopian. So the team all gathers around. Do you remember the team's name? Because I don't remember the team's name. What do they call themselves? Because I want to say Guardians of the Globe, but I know it's not right because it's Invincible.
The Union?
The Union, yes. So all the members of the Union gather around Black Star, and he is like kicking the crap out of everyone. And he almost kills Utopian, and Brandon, seeing his father in peril, ends up killing Black Star. This is a big deal, because one of the big things about the Union is they live by a code, which we don't really get to see like the definition of the code laid out in full, but we know do not kill.
They lay it on you a lot.
Yeah, which the code basically, do not kill, do not use your powers to assert authority over the human race, or whatever the case may be. We're not going to govern with these powers. We're just helping people, right? And so all of a sudden, this is the big issue in present day, because this actually has two storylines that weave throughout the 8 episodes, which can be really confusing at first, and can seem unnecessary or seem really weird the way these things are placed. And there's also the flashbacks to the 40s. So Sheldon and Walter are clearly a lot older than we have thought they were.
I'm sorry. I thought it was the late 20s, like 29.
Okay, well, it probably is. You're right, the 20s, because steel and stuff. So yeah, it was way earlier than that. So they were definitely older than we had thought they were. And Maya, you might want to watch this first and decide if you want to watch it or not, but to each their own.
She might love it.
It's true. But we'll talk about how many people love this or not after we get through this. Okay, it's not this. So anyways, the whole thing that in the past centers around these two brothers, Walter and Sheldon, who are helping their father run his steel company, and their father ends up committing suicide, and it kind of sends Sheldon through this psychological loop, and then he starts seeing visions of his father. Now, this is all throughout the 8 episodes is what we see, this past storyline played out, and he starts realizing like his father's trying to tell him something, and he doesn't know what it is. He sees these symbols. He has a friend named George who's very wealthy too.
It's on Netflix, Shonda Suk. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah. And the funny thing is that I knew it came out May 7th, because we actually talked about this on this show. But when I went May 7th and opened up my Netflix, this was not like it was Selena, the season 2 series. I was like,
I know, we should have reviewed that. And it wasn't even that good.
I had so many thoughts on how that thing is produced.
What about that Beyonce scene though? Didn't see that coming, did you?
Well, I didn't watch season 2 yet.
Oh,
but I was just watching. I was just saying season 1. I was like, wow, that dad loves to paint himself in a really positive light. But we're not talking about Selena, because that would be really interesting to talk about. Anyway, we're talking about Jupiter's Legacy.
They take a lot of liberties with that show, and there's a lot of green screen in that show. Probably just as much as in this one, but we'll get to there here in a second.
Yeah. So the past is all about them getting their powers, essentially. Sheldon is going crazy. George is the only one who seems to believe him. Then Sheldon manages to escape and go visit this old man. Old man Miller is, I think, his name, who had killed all of his family. And he also saw the visions. And then Sheldon realizes, hey, I think I know where I need to go.
It's the guy from RoboCop, and
yes,
also
it is
the dad from that *70s show.
He is. I was like, that guy looks so familiar. What a weird, interesting cameo.
Interesting role, yeah.
Yeah. So then Then Sheldon and decides to get, like, he has this vision while he's in this guy's basement of not only his brother Walter, but also his friend George. And the reporter who wrote these nasty things about their father, basically that he had spent the pension fund and everything like that. And of course he did, because he's a 1920s corporation business mogul. And we all know how they treated their workers in the 20s. This should not be surprising.
We do.
We do. So she's in the vision. Then some weird guy they don't know yet, which is Blue Bolt, Richard Conrad, which they find later on. So they end up hiring a boat. They go out to sea, and they do come across this man named Richard Conrad who had been attacked by a storm that seemed to be like alive, and everyone died on the boat except for him. And so now they have him as their captive, and they kind of also get into this storm, but then they manage to get through it. An island appears. They get off the boat. They go into the island. They're on the island. They have to go through these inner turmoil trials where they're fighting each other, and then they realize the island's doing it to them. Also, they could get to this one spot, and I do have the picture or the thing of them. Do I have it? Probably not. Where they find this cave. They put their hands in the wall, but they have to get over each other's like anger with each other. First, Walter and George, and then, of course, Walter and Sheldon, because they have their own issues when it comes to their relationship with each other and with their father. So once they do that, there's this beautiful, like, ethereal alien like world kind of thing. They enter through this portal, and they all see a loved one that they care about, who's dead and gone, who basically tells them, you are found worthy. Next thing you know, we see them, flying in the air, and they have their powers and their suits already done up. And then they kind of form this union. They talk about their code, and of course there's a little bit of this issue of George maybe wanting to do more with the union than just, protect and serve. Like, maybe there's rules to be had, which that's all what I just described is done throughout all 8 episodes, interspliced between what's going on in present day. So present day, after Brandon kills Black Star, who they thought was Black Star, turns out that he's a clone. He's a clone of Black Star. Black Star's still in prison. So who created the clone? Well, they all think it's Sky Fox. So meanwhile, you have them trying to figure out this, but then Black Star's like other supervillains and things like that, knowing that Brandon had went to this extreme, they start getting very violent, and they start getting more violent and killing other superheroes from the Union, including a new one that just joined called Ghost Beam. She ends up getting killed.
I love their costume.
Oh, Ghost Beam's costumes?
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite costumes.
Yes, it was. And then she died.
Right.
Yeah, so you have that going on. Then you have Chloe, who ends up meeting Hutch, which is Sky Fox's son, which he doesn't know where his father is either. So we got that going on. And he has no powers. So all these people that are born with powers, but he wasn't born with powers, even though his father is Sky Fox. But he does have Blue Bolt's teleportation device that he uses to get out of situations. He has a little team of superhero or superpowered villains, or thieves with him, and they go around stealing stuff. And they have a little subplot with stealing something for this guy called the Big Man. And when Chloe steals the stuff by accident after they run into her, and then she has to fight them, but she thinks it's like this massive amount of cocaine that she's so excited to snort and have a party with. So she takes it and snorts it all. And so he ends up having to kill the Big Man, and all that stuff. And they end up having a relationship. So that's fun. Meanwhile, he's getting questioned by the Utopian.
Ain't nobody in this show having sex with their clothes off, by the way, just as a heads up.
Yeah, exactly.
You're at least looking for something in this show. Ain't no clothes coming off. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, anyway. So, and then Chloe's dealing with her issues while she's dating Hutch. She's also dealing with her issues of, she has friends who are on the Union team, and they, are giving her a lot of grief for doing what she's doing and not actually, being, I guess, a superhero. She has all this, she has the power, she has the abilities, and yet she's choosing to be a model for, a car show or like some cars. And so why wouldn't she be surprised when they say, we want a picture of you doing the superhero move with the car on top of your head? Because that's what you bring to the table, or else you're just a skinny chick with the pixie cut, which we got plenty of those. I'm pretty sure that they can use as models. So so you have her storyline, her and Hutch form a relationship, but she doesn't want her family to know. But her mom does find out, but she doesn't want her to tell her dad, because of course her dad is looking for Skyfox. They think that he was the one who cloned Black Star, and then they decide, they have to figure out if they can get to this cloned Black Star's mind, because he's not quite dead yet, even though his face is like completely blown out. They decide to get Walter's daughter. Apparently, a lot of these people have estranged kids. And his daughter, Raikou, she also has the same mental abilities he does. So Walter is brainwave, and he goes into people's minds. And so he uses his powers to like mentally put himself to where his daughter is. And basically, he's like, I'll pay you money if you come and help me out with this mission so we can get inside this guy's head before he completely dies. So she ends up coming to help. And while they're doing that, the real Black Star comes out of prison. Now, Brandon at this time, the little glasses, little Black Star with the little reading glasses.
That's when you know you got a classic comic book supervillain. He's reading. I think he was reading like a romance book, though.
Was he? That makes it. I didn't even pay attention to the book he was reading, but that would make sense.
A romance novel, I think.
So, meanwhile, he actually does break out of Supermax prison. And Brandon, who has been on sidelined for not just because of what he did, and his dad wants him to think about what he did, but also just in general from the plot, basically sidelined for the most of the TV series, even though he's the one who started the whole issue of breaking the code, finally comes in and helps his dad to stop the real Black Star, while the rest of them are back with clone Black Star getting into his head. And Brandon has come to realize he believes in his father's code. And where all this came from, his storyline barely gets as much as Chloe's. I'll put it that way. Chloe gets way more screen time to deal with her inner demons, but I guess she's sexier, so that makes sense. Or at least Hutch is sexier.
if you're into the,
I mean, Hutch is straight sexy, so I guess that's it.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude. Okay.
He's a good dude. Yeah. So anyway, they end up. So Black Star almost kills Sheldon, or almost kills Brandon, gets a hold of Brandon. He's like, what are you going to do, Sheldon or Utopian? Are you going to break your own code? But luckily, the Flare's daughter, who was considering quitting the Union because she didn't know if she believes in its mission anymore, she comes in. She ends up distracting Black Star in order for Sheldon and Brandon to take him down. So they didn't have to sacrifice the code in order to do what they had to do. Meanwhile, the fake or the cloned Black Star, Raikou and Walter go into his mind, and Walter ends up getting stuck. So now Raikou has to like hold his mind open as long as she can so Walter can get himself out, because he has to. And inside the mind, he's battling George or Skyfox, or so we think. And then Raikou ends up getting Lady Liberty in there, but of course they're able to, defeat George, and he's able to escape it. And they think, hey, they know, who's behind it all. They know he wants to destroy the Union. He wants to destroy everything. But we come to find out, twist and turn at the end, Raikou realizes that all of this is actually not George, and Brainwave or Walter is behind all of this. He's the one with the mind control and the mental abilities. So she's like, Dad, I'll keep it quiet that you're the one who created the clone Black Star, that you're the one who's trying to pin it on George if you pay me money. And instead he kills his own daughter. All the meanwhile at being in the same place as Sheldon, and they're having a conversation about the Union. And yeah, that's pretty much how it ends, with the revelation that Brainwave, which is the villain all along, and we still don't know where Skyfox is, but we know Hutch wants to find him. We know Sheldon and the rest of the Union want to find him. And we also know that we can't trust Brainwave. The end.
Okay, so let's break it down again. Before we start it, we start this. This is just Amanda, in my opinion. She may have loved it. I really don't know her feelings yet, but we're gonna find out together. if you love this show, that's awesome. This does not
Yes.
make your opinion invalid. It's just our personal opinion.
The Star Force.
But we're here to talk about it and the things that worked and did not work, at least for me. And holy crap, I'm not going to lie. I wanted to give up on the show after 2 episodes because it was so dull. The pacing was so slow. And when you go into a show kind of like Invincible or The Boys, you seem to recall the source material. So reading Mark Millar's Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's Circle, Mark Millar is not one of my favorite writers to begin with. He tends to go towards the edgier side. But I do remember Jupiter's Legacy. Actually, I think I enjoyed Jupiter's Circle a little bit more. That's about the kids, or maybe it's the other way around. The one with Frank Quietly I enjoyed more. It got a pass, but it was still the Miller tropes in there, the voices sounding the same, and just edgy for the sake of being edgy. And I think they did a better job of that in this, like keeping it less edgy. Oh my gosh, look at that cute haircut. That's adorable. I was in the middle of a rant, and then I saw a cute little girl. How dare you?
Keep going. I'm listening to your rant. Keep going.
Oh, it's okay. However, what Mark Millar is really good at is in your face, nonstop action from the beginning. You get, no matter if I like his stories or not, they're easy to read and entertaining because it's balls out action. They're fighting. There's things constantly happening. We move from from point A to B like that. So much so that I don't remember the prolongness of the origin of their powers being that long. I just remember it being a couple of pages in the comics, and he's like, here's how they got their powers. Magical Island. The end.
Yeah.
In this, they took it the other way around and made it slow. And I feel like they wanted to make it something special and something unique because there's a lot of superhero shows. But this, to me, gave me a little superhero fatigue. Like, there are too many superhero movies and we don't need to, or TV shows that we don't need to adapt every one of them, because it also comes at a bad time. We had just finished Invincible, and it's the same premise about a dad, his son, and legacy. And in this, it's just such a slow burn and having to go back and forth between 1929. I will say that I really enjoyed the 1929 parts of it more than I did the kids. Now, it could be because the kids are a bunch of douchebags and I really didn't care for them, and I think they spent way too much time on that. But I would have liked to have seen them get their powers in a linear way. Like, get their powers, go through the 20s and 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
That would have been okay with that, and then talk about the kids later on. But man, the pacing was so boring.
Mm-hmm.
8 episodes, and then you still, and I don't know about anybody else, but if I had not read the comic, I would have been like, okay, where the fuck is Sky Fox? Like, is he in his brain? And why did he have to lie about making the clone? Why did he kill his daughter? Other than the fact, like, to show that he is so different than what's his name, Sheldon, that he is willing to kill his daughter. And Sheldon actually thought about breaking the code to kill Black Star, but it just didn't make any sense to me. It was anyway. We'll come back to me. What about you? What were your initial thoughts watching this, Amanda?
So I've never read Jupiter's Legacy. Let's start off with that. So my knowledge of the comics is basically anything I would have read on the internet just to get myself prepared. I got to be honest. I'm not a fan of this series. You mentioned the comic. You said that Mark Millar likes edge for the sake of edginess. If you want to talk about, this is nowhere near as edgy as the book, as right. Invincibles, even as Umbrella Academy, which is the other one on Netflix, also about fathers and their son. Like, even though he's not the real father, but it's still that idea of dealing with your father's legacy. That's exactly, let's say, similar kind of things with the Umbrella Academy. And also the idea of this code, the no killing code, it seems so not outdated, but given the kind of properties we're seeing now, where killing, the superheroes have to kill, in like The Boys or in Invincible or even in the Marvel movies, you know, they kind of have to kill some folks. It seems kind of outdated and maybe for a different time.
It's there. It's in those shows and movies. There's an understanding about the code. I didn't need to be reminded about the goddamn code every
second of the day.
And then they kept quoting the with great power comes. I was like,
really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said that. They say it. And I was like, what? So
but go ahead.
So for me, like, it just didn't really take off the way I wanted it to. I like when they had the clone of Black Star and that ending of the first episode, I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. But then they go and the whole, like with Brandon, they focus so much on Chloe and her relationship with Hutch. And I was like, well, what about the guy who started all this? If we're going to focus on this code, because that's what we keep talking about, why aren't we looking at Brandon and what he's going through while he's dealing with, like, we barely get any of this. Like, we only hear him talk about, obviously, him and his dad. Like, he's trying to live up to his dad's expectations, but it's not working. He has one conversation with his uncle, Walter. But other than that, he's pretty much silent until mostly the end of the series or the season where he gets to talk to Flair's daughter, Flair 2, and he pretty much quotes his father back to her when she's like, I think I want to quit because now Ghost Beam has died and this is a big deal. They focus on the wrong things on the present. To me, they focus on the wrong things on the present, and then the way they intersplice this past, which was interesting, but there's only so many episodes where I could go on and see Sheldon. Honey, I'm trying to do my show, baby.
I want to my song.
Okay, well, that's beautiful, Lyndon. Hold on, give me 1 second. I had lost my train of thought because my dog.
It's okay, and you bring a good point about Brandon being, you think that's going to be the focus. It's called Jupiter's Legacy. You think it's going to be about superheroes and their kids and what kind of legacy they leave behind. And if the code is that important, then let's bring the focus back on Brandon and his father, Sheldon.
Yes.
Go ahead. You.
No, you're fine. I'm saying, yeah. But then when we got to the flashback scenes, the way they were interspersed with the present day scenes, like usually when you have flashback scenes in seasons, somehow it's kind of relating to what's going on with that present day. To me, I didn't feel like that happened at all. They were just trying to show how they got their powers in the first place, but it didn't really cut well with the present day scenes. And there was only so much of Sheldon going crazy that I honestly could take. And I was like, can we just get to the island or wherever they're going to find the powers and get it done with? And I kept thinking, wouldn't it just have been good to do one flashback episode? One episode dedicated solely to how they discovered their powers if you wanted to go that route, and just do one whole episode. And then we can move on so we know where they established the code, where they got the powers, because we don't really even see them even throughout the entire past.
This is something that Langley mentioned earlier, and I wanted to point this out. Yeah. I remember when I said it feels like they wanted this show to stand out, to be different, to be unique. I feel like that's the way it went with the story. They wanted to do something very similar to The Godfather. Now, The Godfather saga, of course, is The Godfather 1 and 2 put together and going back and forth. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, the problem with the differences between that and this is that those characters are interesting and you learn to care about them, whereas these characters are just kind of dull. And I'll be honest, kind of confusing in the way. If I didn't read the comics, I'd be lost in this to who's who. I would be like, okay, which one is Sheldon and which one is Walt and what happened to what's his name? Because they don't even talk about some of the characters.
He has a horribly done old hair.
Dude, yeah, we haven't even talked about the makeup and special effects and
yes, like how does Leslie Bibb look older when she's in the 20s, and then younger when she has the, like, I'm confused, but okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No, like the wigs, the color on the beards looks so bad. George was the saving grace of this show. I will give you that, Drunken Sailor.
I didn't mind George.
We didn't even see the transition. We didn't see the transition that we needed to see. Why he is.
Yeah,
here's how much focus this show didn't even give. Like it's like they had a good idea, and then they kept backing up. Like we talk a little bit about how they got their powers, maybe. Why it's called Jupiter's Legacy. You find out that it's the moon of Jupiter powers. We still don't have answers to that. we don't know why there's a bunch of supervillains running around either, because if there's only 6 people that got superpowers, where did all the people with powers come around? Like, we haven't even talked about that.
I confused me because I was like, wait, are all these people descendants? Because I've never read the comics. So it was interesting because all we know is that they have the powers because they went to the island. So how do these other people in the present day, like the guy that Chloe hooks up with at the bar,
right? Like, what was his name? Nick of Time, whatever.
Nick of Time, yeah. When he wants to be like, he's like the Flash. Yeah, I was like, wait, but how did he get his powers? Is he related to someone? I'm confused now.
Leslie Bibb wasn't really my problem. I really, who's the guy? Josh Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel was. It's not.
I mean, I've only seen him in things like Transformers, so I can't. Was he a soap opera star? I think at one time.
Yes, I met him when he was a soap opera star. Yeah.
Oh, you met? So you know him real well then?
No, I just met him.
Can we get him on the show?
No, really. After you're just about to lambast his performance.
I will say this: she wasn't my issue with it. As a matter of fact, I kind of wanted to see more of Grace. I wanted to see Liberty. That one scene that she
beat up that guy, and went crazy was not actually bad. No, my only issue was the wig choices for her. Other than that, I thought she was fine. But Sheldon, I mean, the way Josh Duhamel played Sheldon, I don't know if he's supposed to be a dull character, but it does not make me like Superman is a do-gooder too, but you still are gravitated towards his character. You're not gravitated towards Sheldon.
From the way that reached the boat, it washed over those people. Could be, but they didn't. I don't think that there was so many things that were not well explained in this. So much so that the reveal at the end, if I had not, and I had forgotten about that reveal in the comic book, about Brain being the villain.
Okay.
I don't know. It was like, oh, what? So that's happening? Where did this come from? There were little bits of things here and there, but it felt so. It almost came out of nowhere, honestly, and so confusing with the whole Sky Fox thing and the brain.
Because the thing is that you don't really have time in the present day to spend watching Walter. Like, yes, in the past we see Walter and Sheldon obviously have some dissension because Sheldon was the golden boy, and Walter was behind the scenes doing all the work for their father. But their father really loved Sheldon. I get that, but then present day, what would have led to him, wanting to finally turn, like what made that his decision? Like he doesn't act in any way during the present day that he's, going to do bad things, or he doesn't seem to disagree or anything of those issues. So it's very strange transition.
I believe that, James. The season only covers the first 2 issues. They should have covered all of book 1 with the ending of book 1 and focus. I don't know. I mean, the pacing was a problem. The special effects. Oh my goodness! Did we have any? Did you get any?
No, I have a couple of this.
Gosh,
like it is kind of. It's like a little bit higher level CW.
Very CW. Not that there's anything wrong with CW. If you enjoy
great shows,
but very CW type of effects is what this kind of reminds me of.
Yes. And then their costumes remind me of Sky High. That's what I see.
Oh my God, you're right.
Here's them, and then here's Kurt Russell, and what's her name? Kelly Preston in Sky High. And tell me any different. They're not different. They're not almost the same exact.
That's why you put that.
And Sky High is such a great. Yeah, that's why I put it on there. And that's such a great thing about Legacy too. That's a great original superhero. Yes, it's geared towards children. But it's a great story about this whole idea of legacy of superheroes, and the kid ends up being a psychic. It's a wonderful, cute, adorable.
Wait a minute, it looks like a DC movie, guys. Have you seen the Snyder Cut? That thing was a masterpiece. Anyway, it wasn't everything. It was just most of the time it looked like a lot of slow motion, like old school Zack Snyder 300 kind of. You can tell it's green screen and. It just felt cheap, and maybe and I thought about that too when I was watching. I'm like, maybe they should have done an animated series instead. I think that might have worked a little bit better. Wow, the hate for this show is understandable.
It's just for me. It came down to
about it. What did you like about it? Let's talk about the things we like. So let's see what we can do.
So yes, every time George was on the screen, I did enjoy his character. Mm-hmm. So it was a shame that you never got to see him in present day. I understand that he's in hiding because something had happened. And see, this is where I could, since I don't know the comics, and they didn't do a good job of saying, I was confused with like Black Star knew Utopian's real name, and he knew like he seemed to have a connection that was. I thought we would find out. So like, why is his connection to Sheldon so deep? Was he a previous Union member who turned bad? And I thought maybe he was going to be, George or whatever the case may be. But again, no, I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe after I read the comics, I will. And George was a bright spot. I didn't mind Walter either. I just wish he had a little bit more screen time to help develop what a little like sub for what his motive could be.
I think it was a father issue, right? That's what I got from the cave.
Is it just all but still after like that many years, he still has issues with his father? They couldn't have done the hand thing. They didn't get over it.
Without going into spoilers.
Wait,
Walter. No, spoilers in the comic.
In the comic, sorry. Okay.
Walt's role in the comic was if you think about it in the big scheme, the big arch nemesis of the whole series is the Code, right? Yes. That's why they put it in your face, so you're like, oh, okay, the Code's the villain. Got it. Because Walt believes that they should choose what's right for the people, whereas Sheldon is like, no, we don't ever break that code. So that's why in the comics, and again, this is just a little bit of a spoiler, but I think everybody sees it coming at the end or doesn't care. But in the comic book, it's Walt saying, like, making his kids turn against him, his family turns against him, and then the rest of the heroes turn against Sheldon.
But you don't see
that's the whole goal. I don't know in the TV show, because in the TV show it's a little bit different, and they've killed off characters in the TV show that are still
alive
or were in the comics at the time.
Yeah. So if that's the goal,
could have spent more time on the Jupiter part and less on the legacy. I'm looking for the Mars tie.
See, and I didn't know. I assumed it was a space thing, which is what they got their powers from. But no, honestly, when I see the name Jupiter's Legacy and we talk about fathers and sons, like, is it like a kind of a Roman god kind of thing? And his like, I don't know, never mind. It makes no sense to me.
We're talking about the father, right? Like a Sky Fox. So at this point, I think he's dead with his body parts spread. I think it was his
strip clubs.
He was kind of a playboy, right? Like we kind of see that in newspaper articles. So it could be where he left some of his DNA
around.
Maybe.
Yeah, but Hutch didn't get powered. Well, Hutch didn't get powers, but as far as we know, he's the only one that he has blue bolts.
And that's confusing too, the whole Hutch thing. Because there's not any time that you get to find out about him and his legacy. Like when he was a kid, what happened? Nope. You just like kind of thrown in there like, oh yeah, that's my dad.
He's having sex with Chloe. That's pretty much his, like, once he does a couple of bad guy stuff with his like crime syndicate. Hey, Dean, then he just has sex with Chloe. That's
right. So in the comic book, a lot of this is explained. And that's what makes it difficult to enjoy the show for people that haven't read the comic book. This is just going to be another show that's like, oh, yeah, that was not that good. And like I said, I'm not the biggest Mark Millar fan, but I think the comic book did a better job, which would be a really cool segment to start.
That we're going to do with
Is it better than the book? But it's just... It's explained, and it's explained in just a couple of pages, like all these things, such as Sky Fox is still alive. And this, if I'm just watching the show, I'd be confused. I'm like, is he living inside of his brain? What's happening here?
Yeah, that was also very confused about that whole segment as well.
Oh, and yeah. What did you like? I'm sorry, we were talking about.
What I told you, I liked George. I liked Walter.
Do you like the lighting?
I didn't pay too much attention to the lighting, to be quite honest with you.
The lighting. That's what I'll always say about Catwoman. I like the lighting.
I at first I didn't mind the flashback scene, but then they got, like I said, once we kept harping on Sheldon going crazy, it got a little too much for me. And I just wanted to move that along. Let's move it along. And I wish they just cut some more of that out, let them get their powers, and then at least establish the code, which is supposed to be the main plot point of this whole season is the code, at least in present day. That would have been a little bit more helpful. And I think there are aspects of the present day that I like the idea. So even though it is kind of outdated, the idea of this code, like we don't kill and stuff, they could have done it in a really cool way. So that idea I liked, but they just didn't execute it in a way that didn't come off as kind of generic. Do you know what I mean? They could have done it in a really cool way, but because they wanted to focus so much on the flashback, which still flashback didn't give me enough of like any explanation of anything. So I don't know if the flashback did it what it needed to do, except we now know they got their powers from a weird island that probably has alien something of or other on it, and that's about it. And there's some family drama and stuff, but other than that, it didn't do too much to, I guess, if that was the point of the flashbacks, I could have done without them, I guess.
Leo was like, just watch Shadow and Bone. That's special.
Hey, it's I haven't finished it yet, but it's good. Or I did finish it, and it is a good series. It is better than this one. I would recommend.
I'm watching Selena season 2 right now, so maybe afterwards. I'm gonna be totally honest here, finish because that's what near minting is all about. Thanks, Tyler. I watched the first half of the episode and the last half of the last episode. I've seen all I need pretty much, but if you still want to watch it, I think everybody should give it a chance. Sure.
Yeah.
The premise is interesting. The execution not so much. I need to pick up the trades of this and Jupiter. I'm hoping that we'll do a complete collection of some. I like the artwork in it. So yes, I said something nice about Catwoman. Remember, I said the lighting was nice. That's why I gave it a 1 out of 10. Image had a great opportunity to put out Jupiter's Legacy. Right, they totally missed it. They just didn't even know. But the show just dropped on them like everybody else. I really wasn't expecting this until later. Invincible realized that it needed a hook to hook viewers immediately.
Yes.
See, that's it. That's because since you have so many shows without it being an MCU, because with MCU people are going to watch because they're like, oh, this is going to tie into the next thing and the next.
They've already got their hook. It's called their universe. Yeah,
exactly. But when you're starting a new universe fresh, you have to have something. And you're right. I hate this to make it sound like this, but you need something extra. You need some hook at the end of the first episode to be. Which
I thought the realization that Black Star was a clone, I thought was the hook. But then I just felt like they kind of went off the rails from there, and that was, it just didn't go where I anticipated it going. So,
yeah, probably you're right. Do you think they'll do a Hick Avengers, finish that out, and Fantastic Four by Hick?
Yeah. Ooh, let me answer.
See, okay, yes, that's the way this feels. Because that's why I stopped watching Smallville, because it was dull. Because the problem with Smallville, and this is not a review of Smallville, I swear, to me is that. We know where it's going. The guy's going to wear a Superman outfit. Hurry up and get there. So after season 3, I was gone. More power to the people. I did watch the Justice episode and then the Jeff Johns JSA episodes, but that was it. And then I think I watched the series finale.
Yeah, I enjoyed the guy from This Is Us who played Aquaman. It's pretty cool. Let me answer Taps Logic. I actually I do watch The Nevers on HBO. I keep up with it every week, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Yes, I know it was created by Joss Whedon, but I thoroughly enjoy it. The acting in there is phenomenal. The lead actress who plays Amalia True is amazing, and I want to see where it goes. It's like he's right, steampunk and X-Women, because it's the whole premise is this one point in time, this one day in 1896, something flies overhead and these little droplets thing come down to Earth, and it lands on certain people, mostly women, but some men, and they start exhibiting what they call them the touch. But it is absolutely phenomenal because it just talks about the politics of the time, obviously in England and 1890s, early 1900s. There's still the issue of where the fairer sex falls into the category of things, and is it dangerous to have these women with these powers? And it's very interesting. So I enjoy it. It is better than this show. I do enjoy it more than this show.
I haven't seen it nor heard of it. But back to this, I think if there's a season 2, God bless, I'll watch it because I've already spent enough time watching this. Hopefully they'll pick it up and make it better. Like make it more accessible to people that want to know what's going on. They'll hurry up and talk about, because I don't expect them. If there is a season 2, I don't know how well this show's performing. I have no idea about critic reviews or reviews of people, like what they think about it.
If you want.
What do you got?
Okay, so right now,
before you do, let's rate it. Let's rate it before you do. Is there anything else that came? We talked about the
costumes, the wigs,
white beers, the CG, the story, the dialogue. Out of 10. And anybody that has watched it, by all means, please in the chat, let us know. What would you give this out of 10?
I would probably give it about a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah. Just standard scoring. It's
Okay. 4.5.
Huh?
4.5 for me.
4.5. Man, you're really close to the critic scores too. Honestly,
okay. There were a lot more bad things with the show for me personally than good things, and that's why I was like, well, 4.5, I think is it. So I'll do this, and you look that up. There's 5.
I already have the numbers.
You do. Show me the numbers, baby. Show me the numbers.
Rotten Tomatoes. Currently the Rotten Tomatoes scoring for critics is 36%
out of 100. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but the audience scoring is 75%.
Woo!
So I know I was actually kind of shocked by that number. And then 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb right now. Currently is where it's ranking.
Excuse me? I mean, old and dusty.
Who, you are old and dusty?
No, Clark Daniels saying congratulations on the baby, man. Omar's too old and dusty. So
I don't know if we're carrying on the Valdivieso name because we found out it's a girl. So we just got 2 girls in the family. So
well, it's time to try again then. Okay.
No. This body.
We're doing it.
Only it comes in.
I'll take that out of context. I give it 7.5. I actually enjoyed watching it. 7 out of 10. I know what they are trying to set up, but that's not a good way to survive. Also, right?
Especially if you're like me. If you're like me and don't know anything but the comics, I get it. I'm sure they are setting up something, but that if you're a comics fan, but Netflix has to appeal to not just the comic book fans, and we know Netflix they throw a show on for 2-3 seasons, they just go ahead and cancel it. So it's hard to say.
That sucks. I swear, if they don't bring my Anne with an E back, and they make this 4-5 seasons, I'm gonna be mad. All right.
Anne with an E was a delightful show with wonderful characters.
So the critics are really hard on this show, but audience most of the audience really enjoys it. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll say and it's funny because when I've looked at people's reviews, or not people's, but like comments and stuff on some different reviews, and it seems a very mixed bag. There are definitely a lot of fans who are just like, now pass. I'm not a fan of this show, because they're just saying that there's, it's just, to them, it's, to use the term, it's just average as far as superhero content that we get these days. It's just average. So
would you say run of the mill?
Oh God, I almost wanted to say it, and I was like, I'm not using that word.
You did.
All right.
So let's talk about some other things going on.
He's already done. Jeepers,
dude. If we weren't doing this show, I'd have given up in episode 2. Like I would have given up. I did not want to watch it. I was like, I am wasting my life. I need to be watching Selena. And there was another show. Oh, I started the documentary on HBO. There was a 2-episode documentary. What was it on?
Oh, is it the is it on the prescription pills?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I started that one too. Also, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Also,
I was say I binged. Anyone needs a comedy to watch? I binged the first season of Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus. What a delightful comedy!
You keep saying Apple TV Plus. Ain't nobody got Apple TV Plus, but
you should. If you have an Apple device, you can probably get it for free.
I got an Apple iPhone that my cousin can text me her info log, so I can get some Apple TV stuff.
Because it is just a delightful, absolutely delightful show, just like Mythic Quest. I'll be honest, Apple TV Plus had a really rough start. The morning show is okay. The reviews for C, which I haven't even watched, the Jason Momoa thing where everyone's blind, it just was okay. Servant was M. Night Shyamalan, so But then they start coming out with Dickinson, and now Mythic Quest and Ted Lasso, and I
keep hearing about all these great shows, but I'm missing out because I don't have an Apple ID. Apple account.
You should get one. So, with that being said, we'll talk.
We'll talk.
We'll talk about that. So let's talk about movie stars and superhero movie rumors.
Yeah,
so,
what is this you were telling me about? What's his name? Andrew Garfield. What's up with that?
Yes. Last 2 weeks, at least last week and this week, we've had a couple of movie stars. First, Andrew Garfield, and then today, Emily Blunt.
It's sponsored by Apple, and Melanie sponsored by Street.
I can't help it.
I wish Apple would sponsor him, man.
I wish too. I wish it too,
Oh,
man.
what is on your shirt? I just noticed.
Oh, it says wrong party. See, it's like the little
Oh, is
L.
that your Dungeons and Dragons thing?
And then he has the, isn't it cute? See, wrong party.
It's adorable.
That's not the party he's supposed to be in.
I get the joke. You didn't need to explain it to me, but go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about. So last week we had this thing circulating, and I have the video clip here of Andrew Garfield being asked the same question. So he's promoting a movie called Mainstream. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, he looks fantastic in it. He's like one of those guys on YouTube he'll do anything to get views, like the craziest crap, right? No, not like you. No, like Logan Paul. Like Logan Paul, like Jake and Logan Paul.
Oh, please. Okay.
So he plays a version of that.
I ain't boxing Merriweather.
Anyone who actually likes Logan Paul or Jake Paul, but that's my opinion on them. So he plays that kind of person. So, and the trailer looks awesome. It's a really good movie, but all anyone can ask him about is, of course, whether or not he's going to be in
Spider-Man rumors. Yeah.
So this is on Happy Sad Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. He's a contributor for MTV News, always on there. So this is what he had to say when he asked him about it, and it is the funniest thing. So I'm gonna play it.
Ruin anything if there is something to ruin, except to
there isn't anything to ruin, bro. I had to quickly cut you off. There's nothing to ruin.
Really?
Like it's so crazy to
This just gotten out of hand. This is all bullshit,
dude. It's fucking hilarious to me because it's because I do have this.
Drop those F-bombs? Come on, Andrew.
Have you seen this before?
No, I don't watch this crap. This is the stuff you show me.
I see like how often like Spider-Man is trending and it's like people freaking out about a thing, and I'm just like, guys, like,
oh, no.
I wish I could just like be able to speak to everyone and say like,
how did this take off? Because you are.
I recommend that you chill. Like, listen, I can't speak for anything else apart from myself.
Sure.
Like they might be doing something, but then ain't none. Like I ain't got a call. So like.
Okay. Well, that makes my life easier. Okay, no, that's good. That's unequivocal.
You know what it feels like though? It feels like, because this hasn't come up yet in an interview, but like, do you ever play the game Werewolf?
Yeah, because we play Werewolf
or Mafia.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know that game? Mafia. I think it's kind of similar, where it's like you're convincing everyone that you're not in the Mafia.
You, Omar.
Right.
We're a game of Werewolf, by the way.
Like I feel like I'm in a game of fucking Werewolf.
I dominate
or Mafia, where I'm like, I'm not
Garfield. He's
the werewolf.
He's lying.
I promise you, I am not the werewolf. And everyone's like, you're the werewolf. You're the fucking werewolf.
He signed an NDA. Kevin Feige's got him by the balls. He signed it.
Okay,
I don't believe
that happened.
He's an actor.
Last week. Yes, that happened last week. And then this week or today, Emily Blunt. It happened. It was an interview that she had done with Variety.
And Miranda gets it. He lies. That guy is lying.
He lied. So then she goes on to say, asked her about Fantastic Four, and she goes, "It's fan casting. No one has received a phone call. That's just people saying, wouldn't it be great?" And then she said, superhero movies are not beneath her, but she's no longer sure it's a genre that she wants to explore. I love Iron Man, and when I got offered Black Widow, I was obsessed with Iron Man, but she couldn't do it because she decided to go over his travels with Jack Black. Might be one of those mistakes she looks back on and says, man, that was a mistake. I wanted to work with Robert Downey Jr. It would have been amazing, but I don't know if superhero movies are for me. They're not up my alley. I don't like them. I really don't. So
she doesn't like superhero movies.
No, that's what she said. So that was something that she said that that was reported today, and it just it brings back the whole idea. I think
right. I wouldn't say shit either. I can't.
Langley and Neely. So this is the point I want to bring up. He brings up this point. I think I'm the only person. Oh wait, that's not it. But I also.
Which one do you want to point out?
No, wait, hold on. I have to go back up. This one right here. This is so sad. I feel bad for actors answering a question like this. So yes, that's what I wanted to bring up because it is interesting. Like, yes, they probably sign NDAs. They cannot talk about it. But yet they want to get these clips that the journalists want to get these clips to put them on air so that you and I can talk about them, right? But at the same time, Andrew Garfield is not there to talk about Spider-Man. He's there to talk about his movie that he's promoting. Same with Emily Blunt. She's talking about a movie that she's currently starring in that is not Fantastic Four, but they only want to talk about Fantastic Four. If I was them, I would start getting a little like, okay, I'm going to say whatever I can to just shut you up because it's getting on my nerves. I'm here to promote this movie, and that's what I want to talk about. And it's interesting that, but that's the culture we live in, right? Where we need to know, even though we don't really want to know, right? We don't want to know if Andrew Garfield's in it because you don't want to be spoiled, right? But at the same time...
No, my cousin, she's going to text me as soon as she finds out. She'd be the first one. Hey, by the way, at the 3-hour mark of this stupid movie is when Andrew Garfield drops. And I'm going to be like, I can't believe you just did that before I went to go watch this movie. But I do want to be surprised. Like, I that's why I hate any leaks. That's why I hate questions like this, because we live in an era of the internet, right? Like we live in. There was a time when I didn't even watch movie trailers on YouTube because I wanted to go and experience them at the movies. I love movie trailers at the movies, and now it's like, well, COVID, pandemic. I guess I can watch them on YouTube, but yeah, it's impossible to stay away from spoilers and. Hardly anything is surprising when an actor appears in something because there's so many rumors too.
Yeah, RRG76. She was promoting Quiet Place 2 that comes out in a couple weeks in theaters only. So of course she wants people to go see that movie. So
yeah, her husband directed it
still, and she's the main star because he's gone. As far as we know, he died in that last. He
was in a flashback.
Yeah, let's flashback.
It wasn't that good of a movie. I don't care what anybody says. I enjoyed it. I did not like that movie, but go ahead. What's the next thing we're going to be talking about?
Okay, so the next thing, so we talked about those rumors, and just like, so it is interesting, like everyone who's connected to any superhero movies, like even like Tom Holland had been like during Cherry, he wants to talk about this amazing film that he thinks, okay, it wasn't that great.
Was it amazing though? Was it?
No, but he thought it was amazing. Okay. It wasn't that great because he had worked with the Russo brothers. It brought out a different side of him that we don't get to see because all we see is a different version of Peter Parker and everything he's kind of played so far, like Onward and Spies in Disguise and Spider-Man. So it was a different take, and he wants to talk about it, but all they want to talk about like is, well, let's talk about that Spider-Man 3 movie. What about the rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, like, and it's just, and I get it's part of the territory. At the same time, it's like, we're going to have time to talk about that. It will come in December or in November when he starts doing his junkets for that particular movie. Anyways, so that's my little segment on that. So next thing to talk about, we have some casting news that we didn't really get to discuss last week that came out last week. The first one is Lady Killer. So yes, the Joelle Jones graphic novel or comic is getting made by Diablo Cody, who we all remember directed Juno, and Blake Lively is going to be set to star in that. So this could be a very interesting adaptation.
Pretty interesting. Yeah. Are we going to talk about the trailer that dropped this week?
Yes, Venom 2. We will talk about that.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We normally enjoy a lot of things, Amanda and I. For some reason, we're talking about things that I'm like, I don't fucking care. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is the casting? Or I'm sorry. Well, Lady Killer, right? We're talking about Joelle Jones, Lady Killer.
Yeah. Diablo Cody. Go ahead.
Lively, right? Is it Blake Lively that is casted?
Yes, and she's producing it. So obviously, she's not only going to be starring in it, but she's producing it. Diablo Cody's writing for the project. And so it's going to be, of course, Dark Horse is going to be kind of definitely involved in it.
You can say Mike Richardson.
Yeah, Mike Richardson and Keith Goldberg, they're producing it along with Kate Vorhoff. And let's see. I think that's the biggest news that we've gotten from it. It doesn't say it's going to be on any. I think it's going to be. It is set up in Netflix, so it's going to be a Netflix show, which makes sense, or a Netflix movie, which makes sense considering, or TV show. It's a TV show on Netflix, which Umbrella Academy is also a TV show on Netflix. So it looks like Dark Horse and Netflix are kind of working together on that.
Well, they do have the Umbrella Academy, right? What was the other Dark Horse show that they just did, or they got greenlit to do? Anyway, Red Sonja. We talked about that a little bit. You and I did, but we didn't talk about it.
Yes. Hannah.
On top of it.
Yes.
Do you
so Hannah John Kamen, who we all know, well, I mean, at least we know as Ghost from
We all know as Ghost.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. She will be playing Red Sonja. Honestly, I was a little surprised by the casting because I have a certain picture of Red Sonja in my head.
They're obviously going,
which is not Maddie with wigs, but or maybe it is.
Okay.
But yeah. So, what do you think about that casting news?
Obviously, I think they're going to go a different route.
Yes.
With Red Sonja, which is cool. We'll see. We'll see what they're going to do with that. But it's also we've seen casting before. We've seen directors attached. We've seen contracts signed. We've seen posters of Red Sonja, and nothing came. So let's see what happens.
Yes, it'll be interesting.
It's definitely not. I mean, she could I don't know. She could, beef up. You see.
Yeah.
I have many pictures of Red Sonja in my head, and I think that's the thing. Most people usually have I guess what you would call the definitive Red Sonja in your head, right? Like the way it looks. And the casting just didn't really do anything for me, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's going to be a movie from Millennium, which I'm not familiar with that production company, but that's who is going to be producing it, Millennium. And so it's going to be a movie. So we'll be interested to see if it ends up going on theaters or if they end up trying to sell it to a streaming service. I'll be interested to see what happens as this further develops, or if it gets shelved. We'll see. We never know. Yeah. We'll see what happens. All right. So before we get to some of the trailers that have dropped, let's talk about, Knives Out, guys. They've already got some folks casted, Dave Bautista and Ed Norton, for the Knives Out that will be on Netflix.
Oh,
They're starring alongside Daniel Craig. Of course, we don't know the role.
$500 million worth of movies, I guess. I still don't believe they paid that much, but hey, whatever. Cool. Dave Bautista. I also saw that he said he's done with the character of Drax, right?
He did, yeah. And James Gunn, of course, said, he's always going to be Drax, but of course he supports his friend in whatever he does.
I mean, he's pushing 50, right?
He's pushing 50. I mean, yeah. I mean, unlike Robert Downey Jr., who gets to be like, most of his stuff is done like in a studio where it's just his head and he's doing like the voice inside, right? Of the Iron Man suit. Drax, let's face it, is a bit more of a physical role, so I can see him. Dave Bautista has for a while been trying to do a little bit more serious acting and getting into more of that style of acting, so I can see him kind of move away from Drax at some point. So Knives Out is a great segue to do that.
I'm excited for the Zack Snyder movie, the zombie movie, Bautista.
Yeah, we can also talk about how they digitally removed Chris.
The guy from the what's it called, the Whitney Show?
Yeah, the Whitney Show, and they
never found that guy funny. What got him canceled?
I don't know. I think it's something pretty bad. I have to look at the article again.
Okay, it's okay if you don't.
I don't remember.
You don't have to do research.
Notaro, but honestly, in the trailer, I didn't know how they could have done. Like, I thought that was phenomenal if they did it. Well done, Zack Snyder, or your production people you're working with.
Yeah, Bautista's still doing Guardians of the Galaxy afterwards. Well, and James Gunn said this might be it. He was into underage girls. Oh,
that's what it was. Yeah, of course, that's something like that.
Well, he wasn't funny to begin with, so get him the hell out.
He was not funny.
I never understood that at all, but whatever. Okay, what else did we hear? Oh, there was something.
Hey. So one last thing, and then we'll talk about the trailers. Eric hates Marvel movies, guys. Did you know that?
Well, him and Martin Scorsese can make a movie together.
Yes.
But I love Martin Scorsese. Mickey, wait a minute. He was in Iron Man too.
Exactly. He said, so in a recent interview, he pretty much voiced his displeasure for Marvel movies. And he referred to them as crap. He took to Instagram and he revealed that he had discovered that Law and Order SVU was his favorite show. He thought it was wonderful because he had to watch it during the lockdown. And in the meanwhile, he decided to slip a jab at Marvel while he was doing this. And he said, respect to all of you that work, all the work you do, real acting, not that crap that all, or not like that crap that all on Marvel SIHT. I'm gonna try to.
That's okay. You had Andrew Garfield dropping F-bombs earlier, but go ahead.
No, it's fine. And of course, it's obviously, I think there's some bad blood beat with Iron Man 2.
I hate the Ricky Rourke Marvel movies. I agree with that too.
Me too. It's one of my least favorite Marvel movies. Did we get our super chat from Dylan?
I was gonna get to it. Thank you so much, Dylan, for the super chat. Dave wants to play Bane, like a serious version of Bane. I'm down for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Tom Hardy's silly voice is it was a weird choice. But anyway, and speaking of silly voices, there's another silly voice in the Venom trailer.
Yes, let's talk about that Venom trailer.
All right. So when the Venom trailer dropped, Amanda didn't see it, and I'm like, and he was like, this is perfect. Hey, Moon Knight, the new Venom trailer. Shit, I don't either. That's exactly how that conversation went.
Yes, that's exactly how our conversation went via text. I was like, I watch it. I don't know if anyone watched our original Venom review for the Venom one back in 2018, but Omar and I were just in the middle on being fans of the movie as a whole.
I don't think I was even in the middle. I didn't like it. I think I gave it like a 2 out of 5.
You did not like it. Yeah.
I didn't understand the type of movie that it was. I was like, I don't understand what this is for. But people really liked Venom. Like I thought you and I were our own little bubble. Like people loved Venom, and we were like, oh crap, people really like Venom. My bad.
Yeah. Thankfully, they got rid of the weird curly Q wig on Woody Harrelson. That was a vast improvement.
Yes.
Yes. And of course, people are already looking at the trailer for any digs or any signs that it might be connected to Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man in general. Like, for instance, of course, they show the Daily Bugle.
Dick is garbage.
I can't even imagine that.
Dude, and why did they cast Woody? Like that guy's gotta be almost 60, right?
I didn't think he was 60.
I mean, okay, I'm pretty sure he's almost 60. Not that that's old, but
I mean, what's his name was in Start 59. Oh God, he is close to 60. He'll be 60 on July 23rd.
I'm good with my old.
Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh.
But honestly, how much does he have to do? Just like Alfred Molina, who was worried about going back in playing Doc Ock all these years later. CGI, buddy. And
I understand the concept of CGI, but how do you cast him then? If he's going to be covered up by the Carnage symbiote, might as well get a no name.
Because when he's not in the symbiote, he has to be, or symbiote, or whatever you want to call it.
Let's call it a symbiote. I don't give a crap what that movie tells people.
They have to be engaging.
For real, they could have gotten anybody. Like, the surprise at the end of the first movie was, oh, it's Cletus Cassidy. Cool. He's going to be Carnage. Not, oh, cool, it's Woody Harrelson with a horrible Wendy's wig on, or Ronald McDonald wig, rather.
Got rid of the wig. I think the testing, like, whoever tested the trailer said.
Interesting. They name dropped Avengers in the newspaper in the trailer. You paid a lot of more attention to that trailer than I did.
There were some different hints, or people were trying to like hint at. I think he smashed a bug a spider at one point, and they thought, there we go. It's like a nod to Spider-Man. So whether or not we'll see anything, I was still expecting. I honestly was hoping that at the end of the trailer, just like in Morbius, all of a sudden Vulture would appear, and I'm like, there it is. But we didn't get that, so I was disappointed. I wanted the Vulture to be like the Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Everybody's going to be like, I'm recruiting a team of 6 villains
recruiting a sinister
that are
sinister that we're going to see in Spider-Man 3. That's how I wanted.
No, how many times are we going to do that? I don't care. Actually, that would be cool. I'm in. I don't care. That's stupid, and they're overusing it, but I'm in. I don't care.
Yes.
Now they need to bring back. That would have been another guy. They should have had Mickey Rourke come back for the Thunderbolts as Whiplash.
Clearly, he's angry. He said his screen time got cut. Hey, Martin. his screen time got cut dramatically in Iron Man 2. And yes, he was just off of like his wrestler and everything like that, but it's not like he's done anything since.
Easy now, Clark Nato. Vulture
Easy
was
now.
only part of
I love Donald Glover's cameo. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
These dumb Sony Spidey villain films is going to pull an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They've tried it before, though. They tried it with Andrew Garfield's era. Remember at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2? And at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 1, there was a guy with a great... I don't even know who the hell that was supposed to be, like recruiting people. And it never happened because, well, what was it? The email went out, leaked, and they were like, hey, we're firing Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi. Dude, I want to have hopes that all of this works out in the favor of the fans, not the favors of the studios. I don't give a shit about Disney and Sony and their, their separation of all these IPs. I care about the fans and what we want to see, and what we want to see is this MCU be the MCU, because this to me feels like if I was watching a DC movie and Zack Snyder couldn't use Batman because Batman's owned by somebody else, like Amazon or something, and they're like, oh man, we can't even talk about Batman, but we can bring up the Bat of Gotham. It doesn't make any sense. What's up, Jimmy Ray? Hey everyone, good evening. I'm new to y'all's YouTube channel. Happy to have you here, man.
Welcome to our Wednesday show.
Holland Spider-Man 3 since past since past talk, Clark Nato.
I wish they would do something about it. And that kind of makes me why we talk about Andrew Garfield. If I was him, knowing I got fired from being Spider-Man, who I loved as a child, and now they want to just ask me if I'm going to be back in the next one, it just would tear my heartstrings, especially if it wasn't true. It might be true.
And then what if they invite? And the kicker would be if they invite Tobey Maguire and not Andrew Garfield, and he's gonna be like, but
yes, that would be heartbreaking. Give the guy a break, guys. That whole saga was not good for him. Yeah, Spider-Man One More. Oh my goodness. I'm really interested to see where that movie goes. Martin, I'm with you on that. I just want a cool Craven on film someday too. I agree. That's all I want. Craven is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. The fact that we haven't seen him on the big screen, I guess, gives me hope that they're just waiting to do it justice, but also makes me sad because I would like.
We'll give it to Zack Snyder. You said justice. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you said I had to bring up Zack Snyder.
I love the Snyder Cut. Thank you for having me, because Brian told me about your all's YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, glad you're here. I'm still wanting for Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield, Vanessa Hudgens, that is coming out on them. Look, I was on top of it, man. When I'm gone, Amanda, not when I'm dead, but when I'm off the show or something, I need to be off. You and Leo should take over. Y'all should be the all new Reelz talk with Amanda and Leo.
Yes.
Look, he's already on it. Amanda, read my Q&A. Is that the Q&A? Is that the Q&A?
For us.
Like, you ain't even giving me 5 seconds, man. Yeah, Venom 2, sure, we'll be there opening night and reviewing it. When does it come out?
September 24th.
You couldn't.
No, it's close. It's close. No, not the day I give birth.
What if the movie's so good that you go in the
hopefully I'm not that early. God bless. That'll be like Nick, you baby. I don't want that.
And then we see what's his name, Tom Holland show up, and you're like, Omar, I have to go, and I'm like, Amanda, Tom Holland just showed up. We have to wait. You can wait 5 more minutes. Somebody read Leo, and then we did. Worst part of Garfield movies was Electro, and I think it was a bad script. I think he's an okay enough actor. I know he won an Oscar. I'm talking about somebody that won an Oscar, but that doesn't mean anything. I was never really sold on Jamie Foxx.
Shakespeare in Love won an Oscar for Best Picture. Doesn't make it the best picture of that year.
I thought he won an Oscar for Ray. Didn't he win an Oscar? Or
he
was
did.
it? Yeah. Okay. In his character visually, I thought it looked pretty cool for what you can do with Electro. I'm more worried about the script than having too many characters in one movie.
Me too.
No, worst part was Rhino.
That
whole movie, the Hobgoblin, guys. Do you not remember what he looked like?
And I love Dane DeHaan too. I'm
Like,
not giving up
that's
on
a poor man's Leonardo DiCaprio, and they goofed him up. You don't think he's a poor man's Leo?
Well, I mean, he might be, but he's still awesome. I mean, he was so good in Chronicle. It's just
Everybody keeps talking about Chronicle, and everybody forgets about that's the same dude that made F4 Stick. Amanda, when Marvel dropped on their Instagram the promo single images of the characters in Black Widow, who the heck was the last guy? Ooh, I haven't seen that. Amanda, why didn't you share that with me?
It wasn't Taskmaster. I just thought it was just a run-of-the-mill.
What's his name? Let it slip that Ursa was in this. So is that Ursa Major? Is that what he's talking about?
Maybe that's what they said is. Let's see. I'm looking at them right now.
Well, Venom killed a spider on the trailer. Right.
Oh, yes. Who is that dude?
Show me. Bring it up on screen.
Okay.
In the meantime, bring it up on screen.
All right. Ready?
Use that next time, baby. Haven't used that today.
Share screen. Have we had even a chance?
While you do that, I got a question. Are y'all gonna make a new Power Rangers movie like the 2016 movie? I think they're supposed to.
Oh, I think they might be doing. I mean, because Elizabeth Banks was. I mean, I know she starred as the villain, but I think she had a hand in the production of it, didn't she?
Elizabeth Banks is the villain of what?
Wasn't she in Power Rangers? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at this. I'm like, in Black Widow? Yes, Elizabeth Banks was the. I think they're redoing it. They're starting over from scratch as far as Power Rangers, as last I heard.
Okay.
As far as the movie. And it's going to be, and they're doing an animated series. So it's like they're stopping the live action Power Ranger stuff.
I can see it as an animated series.
Character poster Black Widow. So who's this supposed to be? I don't know. Good question. Could be Ursa Major. Since if they're gonna go with the Red Guard. I mean, we got Guardian, right?
Yeah, we got Guardian. We have Taskmaster here. I'll go through them for you. So he's the last one, and this is the first time I've ever seen this gentleman.
No one's talking about Scream in the Venom trailer. Dude, no one's talking about the Venom 2 trailer. I mean,
yes.
if y'all want us to, we will.
His girlfriend was in there.
I'm late to the party. What was the general consensus on Jupiter? I gave it a 4.5. This lovely lady gave it a 6. But some people in the chat really liked it. Some people thought it was okay. Taskmaster, man. Could be dope.
Taskmaster. I'm trying to look at like what no one said anything about the name. Oh, O.T. Fag Bentley.
What?
As well as, well, that's what they're saying. Okay, so on Marvel's website. Okay, let me pull up that so everyone can see it.
So we're talking about, we're trying to figure out who this one guy is.
Not that guy. We know who that is. We're trying to figure out who that is.
This guy. We're trying to figure out who this guy is because.
So I'm going to share this other tab so everyone can see where I'm going with it. So I'm on.
No, Dane Cook is gone. Thank God for that.
So
look at that.
Yeah, here are the posters, but here's
way too fast past those. All right. Oh, Rachel, so, like a fine wine.
This is on, obviously, so everyone knows this is Marvel's official website, guys. Okay.
Okay. Maybe he's a real Ralph Boner stopping James.
So it says right here, here are some new posters for Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and Rachel Weisz, as well as a brand new one for O.T. Fag Bentley. And I might be mispronouncing that name.
I really hope you're not. O.T.
And one for Taskmaster. I'm going to stop. There we go.
I'm so glad I'm not reading that. Oh my gosh, I'd be canceled in a heartbeat.
Okay.
He's okay, so OT, Mr. OT is he's a British actor. So who's he playing?
That's his name. They don't, so that's just the gentleman's name.
Yeah, the actor's name.
Yes.
So in Black Widow, he's playing somebody named Mason.
Okay.
So he's just like an Interpol agent or something. But why has he got a poster?
Well, he has to be something more if he gets a poster. So you're more familiar with Black Widow characters. Who or Marvel characters?
Who Mason is? I thought it was Ursa Major. Like, that's who I thought it was.
Yeah. Oxby said he's the guy that photobombed the photo shoot.
Oh, that would be so dope. Like, he ain't even supposed to be in the movie poster.
Legley said he's trying to chase down Natasha after Civil War.
Okay.
Does he have a bigger role in the MCU? Like, or in the like, would he be someone in the comics?
Okay. So,
We're all figuring it out together.
I mean, Ursa Major was a Russian guy. I don't know who this guy's supposed to be. Like, I don't have much to work on when you just give me.
We don't think okay, so they showed Taskmaster. We don't know who's actually playing him though. Like if you go onto IMDb,
we don't know who's playing Taskmaster?
No, we don't. I don't think we have, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have an actor who's Taskmaster.
He's Rick Mason. Rick Mason is a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent romantically interested in Natasha Romanoff, who becomes her ally as she goes on the run. In the comics, Rick Mason is also known as the Agent. He was a mercenary who became highly covert operative, freelance agent, who specialized in non-lethal handling of
but we don't have a Taskmaster who's been named. What if he ends up being Taskmaster and he's both characters?
What if he's Mephisto?
What if he's Mephisto? This is the question.
I think Natasha. Oh, interesting theory. I think Natasha's twin could be one of the what are they? They're doing the Red Room, right? I assume. Or
they're doing the Red Room. Yes, Max said, "Are we sure that Taskmaster is a male in the movie?" No, we are not. By any means.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Jesus is saying, how have they been able to hide who is playing the main villain with a huge
this long? I don't know.
Especially from Amanda. She should have found out last year.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm looking at the list. They haven't. I just think it had to be him.
Watch him be the Taskmaster. So, Ursa Major's also a bear. Keep in mind, though, in the MCU, they could make a dude that turns into a bear. And honestly,
that would be amazing.
I would be okay with that. Have
be okay with it too.
Have you seen that Russian movie, the superhero movie, The Guardians, I think is what it's called? Freaking awful and awesome at the same time. What's that word? Awesome and awful?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, it's awesome. Wise is the Taskmaster. Look at all these theories.
Yeah, wow. We have some theories to go on.
Where did that come from?
Where is Tom Green?
Are you the guy? Are you, Max? Are you the one that's like they should get Carrot Top and Gallagher? Remember when we were forming our own Thunderbolts?
Yes, I do remember that.
Was that you? I love that you brought Tom Green back in. Yes. I enjoyed the 1997 Power Rangers Turbo movie. Where did that come from, man? It actually tied into the series. You had to see the movie. What's that? That is true. That is true. It's different than the Power Rangers movie, which you didn't have to see if you just enjoyed the series. Yes, that was you.
that makes sense. Last time
Taskmaster action figure has
dated Drew Barrymore, so that was about it.
Yeah, that guy's gone too. Taskmaster action figure has boob armor. And it's the exact same height as Natasha. Interesting. Pauly Shore's underrated, and I will not rest until he's reached. That's what we were casting. We were casting the Fantastic Four. That said they should get Gallagher to play the Thing, Carrot Top to play the Human Torch, and Paula Poundstone to play the Invisible. There's some names you ain't heard of in a long time.
Yes.
News have turned out to be Bears. Of course, Clark Nato. Of course.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. Taskmaster's Ralph Boner. That's never going to go away. Thanks, Kevin Feige.
Yes, thanks, Kevin Feige, for that.
This is what you do to your fans. Now we all believe everyone.
The writer of that show was like, "Oh, I didn't realize people would think that he was going to be Quicksilver from the X-Men movies." Really?
Is that what the writer sounds like in your head?
That's what. Yeah, because to me, it just sounds like you can't. That's like you're out of touch. Then what are you doing?
I daydream. You daydream about my Fantastic Four casting. So stupid. Oh, I love the chat. Y'all are the best. This moment, I just want to remind everybody to hit that like button.
Yes, we haven't said it before, but you should. I'm looking at the Taskmaster. Trying to decide if that's boob armor from it's the Hasbro one, or if it's just a very well sculpted chest. I can't decide.
That Russian movie is the worst movie I've seen recently, and I want a sequel. Right? It was so awful. It was awesome. I loved it. The weird bear with the machine gun. Oh, it was great. So stupid. Didn't make any sense. Here's some other TV news. Stargirls has been renewed for season 3. That's awesome. Season 2 will premiere August 10th on the CW. Thank you so much. Leo, what is your Q&A, buddy? I thought I read every single Q&A you had.
Yeah, we thought it was.
I don't see it, dude. I'm sorry. Can you type it again? You know me. I'll read it so I don't get yelled at by you.
Called a breastplate. Well, yes, but I'm trying to figure out if it's feminine looking or if it's just a well sculpted breastplate. I can't tell.
Boob. I like boob armor better. That's more scientifically correct. Was the name of the writer who said they did in-depth research on the twins, but didn't know who Mephisto was? Was that the name of the writer who said they did in-depth research on the twins, but didn't know who Mephisto was? Funny.
I don't know if that was the same writer or not. That's a great question.
Is Andrew Garfield Taskmaster? Can somebody ask?
That poor guy.
Okay, so for the record, my friend, on a stack of whatever.
He was dropping F-bombs on my show. I didn't even ask him on. Amanda did. Speaking of screw Hasbro for making me buy all the 7 Disney Plus Marvel figures so I can make Captain America. That is a smart idea. The Build-A-Figure turns out to be Sam Wilson's wings.
Yes, that's fantastic. Man,
we still got those, Amanda? We still got one. Hey, now.
We still have one more. So yeah, we got some trailers, also other trailers that dropped. The Green Knight, if anyone didn't check that out.
Dude, I'm so hyped for that movie. So hyped.
So that trailer dropped and it made me I always thought Dev Patel was kind of sexy, and I like ever since Slumdog Millionaire, and then he played Zuko in the terrible version of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You always love throwing that movie in. We should do Was It Really Bad on we should do that.
Can we do that? I just really love him as an actor, and I just want to see him more.
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me. What is it, Leo?
So everyone should watch that trailer. It definitely has an A24 vibe, but like with the medieval aspect, because it is about Sir Gawain from the Arthurian legends, which you don't get to see much of that. We see so much of King Arthur being redone.
Is that your Q&A, Leo?
It does look great.
Are you serious right now, Leo? Taps should be voiced by Gil. Tapsologic. You and Max should never get a job at the MCU. Hit the like button if you want Rick Moranis to play Silver Surfer. Now
he's back to acting. He's doing the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV series. So
I love Rick Moranis. That man has a heartbreaking story. Was it his wife passed away? Is that why he quit acting so he could raise them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You know what? He should play the Silver Surfer. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Omar, how do I get Spencer, Sam, and Steve on? I kiss David with tongue to get it. What are you doing? Wait, no! Where do you come up with this stuff, man?
I don't know.
It's been a while since Was It Really That Bad episode. We can come back.
Yeah, we actually got something special planned for Friday, which we'll talk about. Let's do one more thing. Hey, guys, Blade was been pushed back. Y'all thought it was going to be produced this year?
Nope, we didn't.
No,
we didn't see the title, remember?
But its start date is now being pushed back from September of 2021 to July of 2022.
Are you serious?
Their time on Blade, guys. It's gonna be.
You know what I got to say? You know what I got to say about that?
Next
time, baby.
It's gonna be a minute until we see Blade on the big screen. Let's just it'll be 2023. And I think that has to do with, maybe I'm sure they want to get the script right. They want to do it justice. They already got Mahershala Ali. I don't know what else they got. Yeah. Yes. We talked about, yeah.
Raphael, I meant to say, we talked about that the last time we did something. Was that on last Monday, I think?
Yes. We talked about it
briefly. I said the tone felt different than the comic book, but Amanda has a lot of it because it's, Robert Downey Jr., who you may remember from Dr. Dolittle.
That's his seminal movie where a dragon.
That was it. Man is looking like Dazzler tonight. It's the glow. It's that glow.
It's the glow. It's my ring light. Yeah.
How old is We're now
going to play the game. How old is Mahershala Ali? Let's play the age game.
Honestly, I think that dude's pushing 40. I think that's what I would say. And Amanda's going to find out. It's going to be in Phase 5. No. It's going to be Blade is going to introduce the Darkhold, and it's going to introduce the Midnight Suns. It's going to be the ending of Phase 4.
He was born in 74.
Oh, so he's older than I am. He's 40. 48, 47, 48.
He's not Woody Harrelson.
He's not Woody Harrelson, but he also looks great
Oh,
for his age.
Leo, that was too low, buddy. Too low. Liar.
I love Ralph Boner because Matt Shackman, the director of WandaVision, was a child actor on Just the 10 of Us, which was a spinoff of Growing Pains, which had a community boner. Look at you, Langley.
Langley, you're right. That's what I do love about WandaVision. They brought him in to do that because clearly he knows sitcoms. So I was really excited for that.
Okay, Netflix released a video after the trailer, and RDJ said they purposely kept the story lighter and more hopeful. Yeah, I didn't like that about. We'll see. Can we have a Blade versus Wolverine on the big screen? We can now.
See how long it takes to get there.
They better start shooting soon if he's in his mid-40s, because he's gonna be like my boy Batista and be like, guys, I'm 55.
I'm done.
I don't want to be cutting dudes up with my sword.
Yeah, because think about it. That's very physical as well. He's not going to be in an Iron Man suit, so it's all about Mark Ruffalo could play the Hulk, because he's in CGI. Like he can play that.
You say the Iron Man suit?
Yeah, because Mahershala Ali.
Dude, have you seen this one? this one makes me cry.
Oh,
I saw one 11 years ago. Oh man,
poor thing.
All the boners.
Pretty
much.
All right.
Anything else, Amanda? Any other news?
Besides the Golden Globes being canceled on NBC because of the Hollywood Foreign Press controversy, so we will not be seeing the Golden Globes next year. Nope, that's pretty much about it.
It's done?
So Hollywood Foreign Press has come into a recent, it's been an ongoing controversy, but it's really kind of been brought to light the last few weeks about issues with them diversifying members of the HFA.
Oh my God, Terrence Howard's replacing Mahershala Ali as Blade? That would be awesome.
That would be strange. Okay.
Terrence Howard, I think, is older.
I think he. But so whatever. Not everyone's gonna be like Dave Bautista and say like 55 is too old.
Not that good, man. Did
Harrison Ford still shooting stuff in Force Awakens. So
Harrison Ford.
Indiana Jones 5. So that guy still got it.
Harrison Ford is showing his age though. I
know.
There's certain actors like Tom Cruise. Say what you will about how crazy Tom Cruise is. He still looks young and still does these freaking crazy stunts that he needs to slow down. Did Mission Impossible in Space come out yet?
No, not yet.
He went to space. That's crazy. Like real space, not Fast and the Furious space.
They barely go into space in that movie, at least in the trailer.
They're going to space. Shut up. They're going to space.
Okay. So Griffin X, yes. So basically there are some issues with diversity, and HFA was not doing enough, Hollywood Foreign Press, to rectify that. So first it started with Netflix and Amazon pulling out. So they will not be putting any of their films into consideration for a Golden Globe for next year, for 2022. Then it followed by actors like Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson coming out against the HFA, saying they regret they even got Golden Globes from them. Tom Cruise speaking of Tom Cruise, actually returned his Golden Globes. He has won because he says that he does not want to be affiliated with them in any way. And then all that led to NBC saying, all right, until you guys fix your issues with diversity, we're canceling your show. And it's not going to be airing next year in 2022. So that's what's happening with
Jupiter's Legacy?
Huh?
What are they canceling?
The Golden Globes.
Oh, I thought you meant Jupiter's Legacy.
No, Legacy. Yeah, that I don't know. I'm assuming with Miller World, they'll at least do 2 to 3 seasons. So yeah.
Well, Clark Nato, since I was around during the peak years of Bennifer, and by the way, for those young people that don't know who Bennifer is, this is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
My love don't cost a thing. That was a great.
What the hell was that?
That is a great song that he starred in her music video when they were dating. It was adorable.
Is that where he kisses her butt?
Yes.
I love that. Anyway, so my thoughts are, love is love, man. If it's like this is like her 18th marriage, whatever. As long as she's happy. And Ben, he's been through a rough phase. He like Batman really, that really drained his soul. So I wish them well. I feel bad for these ultra rich, good looking people. So I hope they find happiness in life.
Yeah, me too.
Jennifer. What the hell's wrong with you asking me a stupid ass question?
Okay, so yes,
There's only 2 to 4 black people that commit to
yeah,
it.
I think that's what it is. There's
How big
definitely
is the
a lot.
committee? How big is the committee?
I don't know how big the committee is, but I think it's fairly large.
All right, here we go. In a podcast called Smartless, they interviewed an astronaut, and she confirmed that Tom Cruise and his production company are making arrangements to shoot in space. See, that's commitment. That's
That
awesome.
is commitment.
Also a lot of money, and he's crazy, but that's okay. Sometimes you need to be crazy to be an actor.
Isn't he dating someone too? Anyways, we don't need to get into
Yeah,
his dating.
you told me he was dating. I was like, really? Tom Cruise is pulling young girls? It's
Yeah.
a young girl, and I was like, who?
Is
And I
it
was,
the Scientology? I'm just
I can't. Who was it? It was somebody that was pretty good. Well, good looking and young.
I said it, but I don't remember who. Yeah, the committee has 87 members. So that's a pretty big, lack of representation there. I can see that.
It's such a burden being rich and beautiful.
It is.
I feel so bad for those people. You know, they need to find some kind of happiness in their lives. So, good journey on that.
Haley Atwell. Oh yeah, Agent Carter. That's who he's dating.
Oh, so hot.
She's not that young. She's 38, but that is a 20 years age difference.
That
But
might be his hottest. I mean, I'm honestly, out of all the women that he's dated, that's probably the hottest chick. No, I take it back. He did date Mimi Rogers. Super hot. And
anyway,
no, she's like older. Like she was older. Like she,
Yeah, I got you.
She was super hot.
Nicole Kidman and Katie
Now,
Holmes.
I'll take Mimi Rogers over Nicole Kidman all day, every day. Let me find you a gift. Where's my Mimi Rogers gift?
Anyways, so as far as our news that we're going to talk about, I think that's everything. But we did want to say what we're going to talk about on Friday.
Friday. What are we doing?
Friday. Yes. So Omar and I, he hinted at it earlier, but we kind of decided that it would be really fun, especially now with Loki moving to Wednesdays. So our Fridays are like, oh, what do we got to review on Fridays? It would be really fun to do a segment, which one was better? And we want to look at the comic books versus whatever, movie, TV show adaptation came about. So we thought, since we did Mark Miller tonight, or we did a show.
We did not do Mark Miller.
That we would do something that we both have wanted to talk about. We mentioned it a lot on the show, obviously, because we talk about a lot of Marvel stuff, but we never actually really reviewed it or talked about it. And that is Mark Miller's Civil War, which obviously is loosely what MCU Civil War is based on. So on Friday, we're going to be taking a look, revisiting Mark Miller's Civil War, and then also looking back at the MCU Civil War and seeing what the differences were, what they chose to keep, what they choose to leave out, and in the end, which one told the story better or which one just did it better. And hopefully everyone has their opinions on what they think is better or which one was worse, which one they preferred. And you'll hear what me and Omar have to say. And it's something that we'll probably do for other things going forward in Friday. Maybe do a couple wasn't really that bad mixed in there too, because now I really have an aching to do Last Airbender just to get off my chest.
Yeah, for real, man. Me too. Like Last Airbender has to be done.
So yes, give us some suggestions. Perhaps Logic said Wanted. That would be a great one to do this segment on. Jupiter likes on TV. Yes, exactly. We could do more in-depth versus comic versus TV show for this show that we just reviewed tonight as well. It is Civil War.
I can't find every freaking Mimi Rogers gif I'm finding is like her naked. I can't show that. I mean, I could, but then there goes all $5 we're making tonight.
Everyone on your own time, look up Mimi Rogers and
I'm gonna find a picture of her.
Right.
Super hot.
Yes. So that's what we're going to be doing on Friday. So make sure to check it out if you are interested in what we think about Mark Miller's Civil War versus the MCU Civil War. Mark really asked us to review Biodome. It's that comic movie who could pass up a good part. I do love Biodome. I've watched that several times.
Who said Biodome? We're not doing Biodome.
Same with Encino Man. Man, there was James said Aliens movies versus the comics.
Amanda's never seen an alien movie. That's what we were gonna do on our on my birthday month. Oh, it's on the
Yes. Yeah, but then you just never offered it. Okay.
You canceled 2 of my shows.
Oh, Derek said Masked with Carrie versus the comic would be an interesting one.
Oh, that's a good one. Bad.
Leo, the last unicorn.
Unicorn is wonderful. By the way, I found a picture of Mimi Rogers. Super smoking hot still. And like I said, like I think she was like 20 years older than Cruz when they were dating. Pauly Shore's a genius. What is happening tonight? No, you don't believe that, Darren.
Pauly Shore's gonna make a comeback this year. I just know it.
Omar, just pretend it's called Biodupe, so you'll enjoy it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Keep it Miller, Avengers versus the Ultimate. You think the A stands for France? Oh my God, I hate that line.
Oh my goodness.
Black Clark Kent is more viable. Also, I am not a fan of people, not everyone, using Val Zod and Calvin Ellis as scapegoats for defending passive-aggressive racism. All are possible. It's fiction. I'm sorry, is in the chat? Are they talking about that?
Someone had mentioned. So yes, they did. So they have been talking about the Black Superman movie that's been greenlit.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as casting goes, or there hasn't been anything set, I guess, definitively whether or not it's going to be Clark Kent as a black man, or if it'll be one of the different characters like Calvin Ellis as Superman. And so that's been the debate ongoing, whether or not they should keep it as Clark Kent or one of the other black characters that are Superman in the comics.
It was a combo in the chat. Okay. I didn't know that people were talking about it. So
we got really distracted by Pauly Shore comments.
by Mimi Rogers gifts. My God. I auditioned for Encino Man. Are you serious? True story.
Wow, that's crazy.
I was trying to think of Airheads. That was the movie with Brandon Fraser and Adam Sandler.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
the movie together.
That was okay. That was okay.
Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser was pretty great too, with Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
We will definitely want to do some DC ones. I think that would be interesting to do some.
If you guys hashtag restore the Snyderverse, what's going on with that?
Once the Batman comes out, we'll definitely want to do Long Halloween, the Batman, since I believe that's what they're going to be basing that on generally, right? Mm-hmm. The Robert Pattinson one. So that'll be interesting when we can do later on when that finally comes out in theaters. So anyways, oh boy.
Airheads. You're right. Omar, you should review Transformers 1986 animated movie. You've talked about it a lot, but I don't think you have reviewed. Actually, Amanda and I and a group of when NMC was still together, all of us went to the movie theater to watch it. Amanda for the first time. And then it was so fun because we set up at the movie theater and I interviewed people going into the movie theater.
It was great.
It was a lot of fun. And then I talked to them about it that had seen it for the first time and their thoughts. I think out of Maddie, Amanda, and Tina, Amanda was the one that liked it the most. All the other ladies were like, I fell asleep, or I guess the music was okay.
I thought someone did actually fall asleep. Is that a lie? If I'm confused if I'm misreading that, or misremembering that, I thought someone did fall asleep. Or
Tina fell asleep.
Yes, Tina fell asleep during. That's right. Yeah. Yes, so we did review it. It was a lot of fun to do that experience.
Good point. It was not a live stream. You're correct. Maybe we should. Random thought. Trying to read JSA. Did the omnibus collect everything? Yes, everything from the David Goyer to the end of Jeff Johns and eventually, Paul Levitt's run and leading up to Infinite Crisis, and then we get the Justice Society of America series. It does not collect the last part of that, which was all written by Bill Willingham. That stuff was in trade paperbacks, and not all of it is collected in collected editions. I hated that movie so much that my boy Starscream did so.
Oh gosh,
what's wrong with you, Hayden? That movie's perfect. Tina's too professional for that. Yeah, I'm gonna drag her ass back out there. Make Icon and Black Superman. They both. I love that. The Milestone universe is coming back, so I'm in for that. I'd like to see Icon on the big screen. Omar, are we gonna get an omnibus of the voice? Yes, I'm gonna talk to Vincent about that. I think I can make that announcement officially when the trailer or the season 3 gets dropped. So. Might as well review the greatest movie of all of them, Spaceballs.
Yeah, that would be fun to review.
Yeah. All right. So, is that it?
So, there we go. So, that's our show for tonight. My kid's already reading a Planet of the Apes book right now, waiting on me. So, yeah. It's the
Are you reading Planet of the Apes for real?
Yeah. Here, let me bring it over here so they can see.
No, you're not.
That's what she brought herself her Spider-Man blanket. She opened this book. She got off my shelf.
That's what you chose. You have all these comic books, and you chose the Planet of the Apes adaptation.
Yes, exactly. Volume 2. So anyways, yes. So just keep in mind that, she's going to show you the other ones. There's like 3 of them.
I'm not sure why your mom bought all those, but.
No, my husband did at half price books. He wanted to read them.
Oh, okay. You know there are movies of those, right?
Yeah, I do know there's movies. Yes. So remember on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be doing the Civil War versus Civil War. Ooh, what a war that's going to be. And then reviewing which one was better. And then with that in mind, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on social media I messed that up. At AdNearBigCon. Remember to check us out on Patreon if you want to support us for $1 a month or more. Omar will come and pick your kids up from school and take them home.
Okay, please don't make me sound like a creep.
Work out, the pandemic is over. And then also, if you want some great near condition merchandise that Omar's wearing, check it out on Spreadshop. The link should be in the description of this video. If not, it's on our channel as well if you want to check it out. Always running some deals somewhere, sometime. And guys, with that all, thank you so much. And if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Have a good evening and good journey, everyone. We'll see you all on Friday.
Y'all be good.
Wait,